China just built an electric motor with 0 rare earth metals, and it's not some startup. It's BYD, the biggest electric vehicle maker in the world. No neodymium, no dysprosium, none of the 17 elements the West has fought over for the last 10 years. And I know exactly how that sounds. Like science fiction. It isn't. The West has quietly chased this same idea for years, and China just made it actually work. The engineers say it's cheaper, fully recyclable, and in testing, it matched the magnet motors it replaces. On one number, it beat them. And this isn't a lab concept. It's heading for production cars. But the thing that should terrify Detroit and Germany isn't the efficiency, and it isn't the price. It's what this motor quietly does to China's single most powerful weapon, a twist almost nobody saw coming. And I'll get to it. Subscribe so you catch breakthroughs like this before the headlines water them down. Here's why this matters to you, even if you never buy an electric vehicle. Almost every electric car on Earth spins on the same kind of motor, a permanent magnet motor. Small, light, brutally efficient. And it only works because of magnets made from rare earth metals. There's one problem. Those metals come almost entirely from one country, China. So the price of the car in your driveway, and frankly your own country's ability to even build cars, runs straight through a supply chain that one government controls. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's the reality every automaker on Earth has lived with for a decade. And China just changed the rules. To understand how China pulled this off and why the West never saw it coming, go back to 1995 and meet a man everyone underestimated. Wang Chuanfu was born in 1966 to a poor farming family. Both his parents died before he finished school, and his older siblings went without so he could keep studying. He trained as a chemist, and in 1995, with about 2.5 million yuan borrowed from a relative, he started a tiny battery company in Shenzhen and called it BYD. 20 workers, a rented building. He could not afford the Japanese robots the big makers use, so he did what they laughed at. He broke the assembly line into small steps and ran it by hand. Cheaper, easier to change. They said it would never scale. It scaled. Within a few years, BYD was the biggest maker of rechargeable phone batteries on the planet, supplying Motorola and Nokia. Then in 2003, he did the thing that really got him called crazy. He bought a failing car maker and announced a battery company would now build automobiles. The stock cratered. He did not blink. By 2008, Warren Buffett bought nearly 10%. Today, BYD outsells Tesla in electric vehicles and builds its own batteries, chips, and motors in-house. That obsession is exactly why its engineers asked a question nobody else dared to. But first, see how deep the rare earth hole really goes. Problem 1, the chokehold. China controls about 60% of rare earth mining and closer to 90% of the processing, the dirty step that turns ore into magnets. The West digs the dirt, China owns the part that matters. And this was never only about cars. The same magnets sit inside wind turbines, the phone in your pocket, guided missiles, and every F-35 fighter jet, with hundreds of kilograms in a single aircraft. China holds a piece of the West's military too. Problem 2, they will use it. In 2023, and again in 2025, China restricted exports of rare earths and the magnets made from them. One announcement, and procurement managers across the planet started sweating, because there is no quick second source. Problem 3, it is filthy. Refining rare earths is one of the most toxic industrial processes on Earth, which is exactly why the West walked away and let China take it. Problem 4, the big one. The West's whole plan was to outmine China. Billions in subsidies. New mines in Texas and Australia. The catch? A mine and a refinery take 10 to 15 years to build. The West bet the next decade of its car industry on slowly clawing its way free. And while Washington argued about mines, BYD's engineers asked a completely different question. What if you did not need the magnets at all? The answer breaks the one rule the whole car industry was built on. Here's the motor. A typical electric vehicle motor hides up to 2 kilograms of rare earth magnets. This one hides none. And the idea is almost too simple. Instead of rare earth magnets creating the magnetic field, this design generates it with electromagnets. Copper windings on the rotor, fed a precise current, doing the magnet's exact job. Think of a magnet stuck to your fridge versus an electromagnet you can switch on and off. Same pull, but one you control with electricity instead of with a metal China controls. No neodymium, no dysprosium. In the cheaper version, the only magnet material is ferrite, basically refined iron oxide. Rust, one of the most abundant things on the planet. Now the uncomfortable truth, the West already knows this works. BMW has quietly shipped a rare earth-free motor since 2021. Tesla announced in 2023 that its next generation motor would drop rare earths entirely. The idea is decades old. So why didn't it take over? The trade-off. These motors ran heavier, less efficient, harder to control. Good enough for one luxury sedan, not your whole lineup. That's the wall BYD just walked through. And the real breakthrough wasn't the metal, it was the software. Controlling an electromagnet smoothly, thousands of times a second, is a power electronics problem, not a mining one. Solve it, and the rare earths were never necessary. China didn't find a better magnet. It removed the need for one. BYD's new in-house drive unit reportedly delivers matching efficiency to the magnet motors it replaces, with none of the metals. But efficiency isn't the number I've been holding back. When China tightened its grip on exports, the price of rare earth magnets didn't tick up. It more than doubled in a single year. The magnet is the single most expensive part of an electric motor, so every Western automaker building them is exposed to a price one government can move at will. This motor? Its cost doesn't move. You cannot squeeze a motor that doesn't use the thing you control. That is the part that should keep Detroit up at night, not that China built a motor, but that it built the one motor it can never be squeezed on. For years, the unspoken threat was simple. Push China too hard and the magnets stop. Then try building your electric cars. That threat just lost its teeth. And here's where a motor story becomes a national security one. The West didn't just bet on magnets, it bet billions it may never get back. MP Materials, America's only major rare earth miner, has needed repeated Pentagon lifelines just to try to make magnets at home. Outside China, the West barely makes them at all. China makes the overwhelming majority of the world's supply. The EU passed an entire Critical Raw Materials Act trying to claw some of it back. All of it premised on one assumption, that rare earths stay essential. China just proved they can be made optional. So the scoreboard is brutal. China still dominates the rare earths the entire West depends on, and now holds the technology to walk away from them whenever it wants. That is what the West is trapped actually means. Not that China got ahead, but that the West poured a decade and untold billions into a race China just quietly stopped running and started a different one almost nobody else is ready for. If these motors scale, every electric car gets cheaper, fastest for the company that buys a magnet from no one. The price gap with Chinese cars widens, and every automaker that just bet its next platform on rare earth magnets has to wonder if it backed the wrong horse. A decade of strategy aimed at a target that just quietly moved. And the part that gets me? The man behind it started with 20 people in a rented building, running an assembly line by hand because he could not afford the robots. They told him it would never scale. Now you know about this before most people ever will, while the headlines still argue about mines and tariffs, because the real ground already shifted. If this breakdown was worth your time, hit that like button and share it with someone who still thinks the West controls the future of the car. Then tell me in the comments, a rare earth-free motor. Is this the real end of China's chokehold, or will it be hype that will not survive the factory floor? And tap the next video right now, because what China is doing with solid-state batteries makes this motor look small.